And so we're going to go ahead and profile the ones we talked about last week. And Brother Jay, Funky Lesson, going to do the talking.
All right, man. So let's start off with 16. Did not pass, right? So this is the diversity ban. So spell it out. This repeals a constitutional provision that made it unlawful for California state and local governments to discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to people based on race, ethnicity, national origin, or sex. So, man, like I said, I really just got to start off saying this was a major disappointment. Time and time again, California has a chance to live up to the hype of having all of these titles of being liberal and progressive. Yet when it's time to show up and prove, we fail to show up at the ballot and make the right decisions. You know what I'm saying? So that's really disappointing. And of course, this all goes back to 1996 with Wardell Connolly, a black man. And so that expression, all skin folk and kinfolk, man, you could point that right at him. He worked vigorously to overturn affirmative action with Prop 209. And that's the proposition that banned affirmative action for people of color and women in all the state programs based on the racial discrimination, people of color, you know what I'm saying? So it basically eradicated all of the programs to be able to obtain a success in the workforce or in the colleges. So, I mean, this has got long-term ramifications because since that happened, 8 more states have since followed. You know what I'm saying? And given the social context of what was happening around the nation around that time, most supporters would have thought that the overt racism and police brutality would convince the California electorate to reconsider. I mean, we got George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of this stuff happening. And that's like the primary reason that the lawmakers right now overwhelmingly voted to place that on the ballot. And so Prop 209 was done under similar conditions where there was serious political and ethnic division going around that time. And we all know that set back women, blacks, Latinx, Asian American, Native American for generations, right? So, you know what I'm saying? We know now that they got an explicit racial quotas have been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And so under Prop 16, the universities were allowed to consider race, sex, color, ethnicity, national origin to address diversity in admissions and other programs. And so the state and local governments would allowed to consider those factors when hiring government employees. They would have been able to award government contracts and would have allowed women and people of color to be considered for civil service jobs, even if they were not ranked among the top 3 candidates for a position. And so what makes this mostly extremely disappointment as this outcome likely has an impact on the rest of the nation, given we have this title of being a progressive state, we couldn't garner enough support. And as I said, when Prop 209 passed, that allowed 8 other states to be able to do the same thing. So I definitely have less faith in places in a Bible Belt or states steeped in conservatism if California couldn't get it right. And so it seriously serves as an impediment to local and state policies to address the disparities, you know what I'm saying, for women and people of color. So, man, shame on y'all California voters, man. We got to do way better than that. And with the way that the state system is worked with the props, like it's really hard to overturn these kind of things and do amendments. So we needed to get this right. We needed to get this right here. So really disappointment.
Yeah, hey Jay, because this is the second election in a row where this kind of proposition has been shut down in order to make sure our people can stay in their houses, their homes that they've been living in for their whole lives and all these other things, right?
Sure.
So when it comes down to being employing our people and making sure our people are able to keep their homes, this was necessary in doing that.
Right.
Absolutely.
And look at the support. Over $20 million spent to support and only $1 million spent to oppose. How could you lose that?
How could you lose? That's ridiculous.
Man, I mean, to check the stats though, I was a political science major. The more money you put in something, it don't have that impact on it. So it's like they out there overspending for what? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the same thing that go to we're gonna jump into this later, sure, but like that's the same thing that happened with the lift. Like they done spent X amount of $20 million. They could have paid them people for all of the money that they spent to be able to try to overturn that. So it's like the money don't matter. It just, what that does is it show you who your opposition is and where you need to watch and what's pushing it. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
It's like, we all need to really pay attention. But again, at the end of the day, I don't care how much money they spent or whatever, man. That's an internal decision that everybody who voted needed to get together, and we made the wrong decision right there.
Yep, you're right about that, Jay. Thank you, man. Now let's slide on to that next prop.
Yeah. So it in good news, Prop 17 has passed, right? So again, this was restoring the rights for people who are still on parole or probation to vote,
Like
right?
me.
And myself, right? So that what this means is essentially during the next election, even if I am still on federal probation, which I am scheduled to be, I will have my rights. So I'm right. So today, I couldn't go out there and let my voice be heard. Only thing I can do is speak to you guys and try to get the word across. And I feel like even though I didn't have the right to vote, I talked to enough people and put it in their ear, and this right here felt like a yes vote for me. It felt like I was actually able to put my vote forward, right? And now next time I will be. It's crazy because I was reading somewhere it says 19 other states allow people that are convicted felons to vote and who are on parole or probation to vote. The crazy thing that got me though, there are 3 states, Iowa, Kentucky, and Virginia, that once you are convicted of a felony, you never ever receive your right back to vote, right? And those are the only 3 states right now. There are a lot of other states that, amongst the other 28 states, there are a lot of states that disqualify people for different reasons, but in most cases, their rights are returned, maybe after probation or after stuff like that. But the state of California put so many people on parole for these really, really long terms and probation for these really, really long terms that it's a rarity that people actually come off and then go and register and then gain their rights back. So to be a person that's able to just be released and to get that right back is a beautiful thing, man. And I appreciate the people out there who aren't on parole or probation that actually went out there and put that vote forward. So the next time me and people like myself and my uncle, our voice can be heard.
Man, hey, but yeah. I love the fact we got our right to vote.
Yeah, man.
You breaking up a little bit, Jay. Say that one more time.
I think I heard you. You was giving a shout out to all the organizations like All of Us Are None, Initiate Justice, those boots on the ground who helped get this passed. Did I hear you right? Jay?
Current election right now, you see how much is needed, and you know, being the war on drugs, that was the inception of everything that we work now, because we all know that didn't work, and we know that in that election, it was that targeted strategy to be able to create more laws to imprison those people, because he knew damn well they wouldn't vote for him after that. And these elections could have been swung by formerly incarcerated people who vote. You would understand how essential that is. So that's just one step going forward. It kind of addresses the point of the 18th. The next one is just like, you know, like it's a point of contention going forward for sure, in regards to not only being able to allow that right and allowing people to come out of that second-class citizen status, but in addition to that, for us to be able to educate the voting population to be able to spawn that change. Because one person sitting up there thinking that you can't change that, but we could have swung so many elections if the formerly incarcerated had the right to vote in previous elections. So,
yeah,
right. True indeed. True indeed.
Yeah, and we seen what they did in Florida about trying to, even though they had the rights restored, they still tried to restrict them by saying they had to pay their restitution funds.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that shows you
I mean, voter suppression, man. You know they're gonna try whatever it is because they know that, you know what I'm saying. If it happens, exactly, you know.
Yeah, man. It's this whole system, man. It's like modern day slavery, man. They doing what they can to do whatever it takes to take away the color or to take away the people of color's rights. You know what I mean? In any way possible, man. Just me being incarcerated, the right to vote wasn't the only constitutional right I lost. You know what I mean? But being able to get this back is one step in the right direction. So next time when it comes down to a proposition or something like that, that I can actually make my voice be heard on another issue, on other constitutional rights that have been taken from us, I'll have that opportunity, man. And it's a blessing, man. And I just appreciate everybody for going out there, because obviously it wasn't people like me that voted on this. It was people that was standing outside, on the outside looking in, man. And I appreciate you guys actually showing that love and showing that fortitude, that forethought to say, man, you know what I mean? These people are humans and they living under the same laws and same rules that we living under, man. So they have the right to have their voice heard like everybody else as a United States citizen.
For surely, man. Congratulations, y'all.
For sure, most definitely.
All right, Duncan. So, Prop 18, I believe that's you, Jay.
So my understanding as the update that we have is a no. And so
Is
just to run that down, this amends California Constitution to permit 17-year-olds to vote in primary and special elections if they'll turn 18 by the next general election or otherwise be eligible to vote. So basically 17-year-olds who will be 18 at the next election will be able to vote in primary elections and special elections. And like I said, based on the basis of what I know and this being no, still a disappointment, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we need to seriously reconsider the long-term ramifications of not allowing people to vote, how to understand and navigate the political system earlier to induce voter participation. Everybody who eligible to vote don't vote. But if you steep them into that process earlier, you know what I'm saying, by allowing younger Californians to vote during the primary can increase engagement and exposure to the electoral process in general. And it's something that we know. So just being able to have the right to vote, we already know because we have a historically low voter turnouts everywhere. This is nationwide, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as of 2020, 18 states, along with DC, they already allowing 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the time of general election to vote in primary. So to me, it's like, it's not pragmatic in the context, in that context, nor does it align. I mean, if you look at currently right now, 17, this is a long list of shit you could do, right? Like, you can get a full-time job, earn a paycheck, and pay taxes. You could take a test and get a driver's license and pay exorbitant ass insurance premiums. You could be tried as an adult if you commit a crime. Special shout out to Kyle Rittenhouse. You know what I'm saying? Nationwide, you can enlist in the army. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you can go off and get killed for somebody else's decisions. You can freely consent to sex. You can be allowed to marry in certain states. You can rent an apartment. You can go to a college away from your parents. So it's like, I failed to see the argument otherwise. And once again, California, shame on you. You know what I'm saying? Because the opponents is like, they arguing that they 17-year-olds are still children, easily influenced by their parents and just not ready for the responsibility of informed voting.
Yeah, you let them do all the things that you just listed.
Right, but check this out. You know what I'm saying? They saying that they're not ready for the responsibility of informed voting. And so I'm gonna give y'all a news flash. The nation ain't ready for informed voting. People consistently vote in opposition of their own interests, i.e. poor white people support Republican fiscal policies that's often counterintuitive for their own survival. Women support Republican social policy, although it decreases their own reproductive rights, control over their own bodies. You know what I'm saying? There was a study last year that showed only 32% of U.S. citizens even know the three branches of government. Do y'all know? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you could ask so many people you bump into, what are the three branches of government? They don't know. So don't hold these 17-year-olds to a standard you can't hold the elders, and you need to utilize this as an opportunity to buck those trends by ingratiating them into the electoral system earlier, educating them, keeping the larger voting population ignorant, only benefits unscrupulous politicians looking to take advantage of that ignorance. You know what I'm saying? So not only, again, do we not look progressive, but we even trailing behind other states on this matter. So get it together, man. Do better, for real.
Hey, Jay, and when you say that, man, that's why we still need civics classes so our young people can be educated on the political process. And man, really,
and even understand the benefit of it. Like, a lot of people got that voter apathy where they just like, man, my one don't matter. Like I said, we go back to the context of what we was just talking about with Prop 17, man. Yeah, everybody doing so. If everybody had voter apathy, then nothing will get accomplished. But we know that the context of even just having all of these, if we was able to calculate how many 17-year-olds were able to vote, how much they would swing an election, just like we was able to do just now with the formerly incarcerated. So it's like, come on, man, y'all got to do better. Like I just, like I said, I'm all about pragmatism and being rational, and every argument that you can make to not support this was like, I can counter it so easily. So, man, get it together, for real.
Hey, man, that was a good take on Prop 18, Jay. And let's go to that next one, Duncan. Prop 20 did not pass. Woo! Hey, y'all, Prop 20, if it had passed, would have been able to get collect DNA from people for misdemeanor offenses. So that means for a misdemeanor offense, you forever in the system. You forever got that card on you that says, hey, come here, we want to talk to you. And so when we think about how Prop 20 would have really affected public policy as far as policing, it would have been so easy now that weed is legal and it is given a misdemeanor citation for it now to be a felony again.
Right.
What the hell, right? And if we look at how many people, were supporting this, and we look at how the money was spent, we have to honestly say this is one of those few times we've seen where the opposition outspent the support and we actually won this thing, y'all.
Yeah. Again, this is just another way of them specifically targeting what it seems like people of color and maybe people of less means. It's like a specific way of targeting, taking away from their rights again as a human. You know what I mean? And your right to privacy is one of the biggest rights, right? And them kind of aiming at that, trying to take the smallest of offenses and make them larger, or try to take the smallest of offenses and make you a part of the system permanently, is definitely a violation. And it's a blessing that it's a good thing that this did not pass.
Even then, that's extremely invasive too, man. Like,
extremely invasive, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You're giving up a part of who you are. The only thing that you have that nobody else on earth has is your DNA, right? We all got eyes and we all got a mouth, but nobody has your DNA. Not one person, not a twin or nothing. And they trying to take that and put it into their database so they can always track you and know everything there is to know about you, man. It's bad enough they do it with kids, right?
Yeah, ain't no telling what they can do with that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no
I don't
telling,
trust
man.
the police at all.
Not even a little bit.
No, and when you guys say that, man, the one thing, man, that really strikes home for me is that as someone who has done 31 years, you are willing to give me another life sentence for a misdemeanor.
Right.
For a misdemeanor, after I've already done 31 years. So, hey, big ups to everybody in California who came out and knocked this down. But I can tell you this, it's going to be another one next election, and we're going to have to be on point, and we're going to have to be paying attention to these propositions because they always trying to slide something slick in. So let's be ready for the next one. It ain't over till it's over, y'all.
Right.
All right. Let's slide on to that next one. So, Prop 21 did not pass. Now, all I say is this. Look at the amount of money that was spent to make sure that rent control was not established throughout California. Any house that was built after 95 is devoid of rent control. You have no way of putting rent control on that. So all of these new buildings that are being built can continue to rise their rents as much as they want with impunity. With impunity, no matter who gets kicked out on the streets and living in a tent under a freeway. So how is it that we couldn't come together with a conscience, a moral conscience, and say people have a right to live without spending a whole damn check on rent?
On the roof. This just shows you how much big business was involved in the political process when it comes to this. Because I don't think there's a person walking around the streets of Oakland or really walking around the state of California that is happy with the fact that every single year the cost of living here is just getting exorbitant. It's just too big for us to really even live under, right? So there's no way that the average person will go out and put this much money, this much effort towards making sure that there could be no control of that, right? So this has to be big business all the way.
Yeah, definitely developers, definitely land use developers. They're the only ones that benefit from this because they're the pockets that are aligned with this the most.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody else can benefit from this. Nobody else can benefit.
Again, man, it don't matter how much chicken you spend on this. Like, it's crazy that internally, the people that we walk around with, we bump it into, we at the grocery store with, that they didn't see how this could have a negative impact on them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and people ain't this dumb. People ain't this dumb. You can't be this dumb. So it has to be something that you is explicitly doing. Like this is exactly how I feel. So I'm trying to figure out, why would you feel that way? How can the average citizen?
Bro, we do know that they can be this dumb. That's what I'm saying. They can.
Well, they are. Well, yeah, you're right.
And you could look at the vote in Miami, and you can see how so many Latinos supported Trump, but yet this is the same person that separated kids from their families forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to your people.
I mean, you gotta. So that one is a little bit more layered, just because for me, when you look at Miami, that's a large, the Latinx community is so large that they haven't figured out what their voting patterns is, because somebody that's Mexican is going to vote totally different from somebody that's Cuban. And so when you're looking at Miami, there's a large population of Cuban people. These people came from out of Fidel Castro, their grandparents, everything. So they overwhelmingly vote. One, it's a red state, but they overwhelmingly vote in the Republican just because the control that Castro, you know what I mean? It's like they got some serious trauma behind that. And so like that group of people, as opposed to somebody out here, like the Latinx community out here, which is going to be largely Mexican, you know what I mean? It's going to vote totally different. So it's like those groups are too wide to be able to have no voting pattern. And they just as socially conditioned and food as the rest of them down there in the South and out there, like I said, coming from Cuba, they just have a totally different view of politics, being able to not have no decision making coming from that regime.
Zero rights, basically, from having zero rights to having a little bit of say.
Well, I mean,
they just now getting potato chips for the first time, 2 bags. Like, yo, y'all got Cool Ranch and spicy nacho. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they don't have that same stuff. They don't have no imports in their new vehicles. They ain't never seen no Tesla before. So it's like the people coming from Cuba to here, especially under the context of which most of them came back from that embargo. Like it's totally different. You know what I'm saying?
So I agree with you, Jay, but I say this: a dictator is a dictator, whether he in America or in Cuba. And if you don't recognize a dictator when you see him, something wrong. And we know that we under a dictator regime right now because he's already trying to dictate that he ain't gonna get out if he lose.
Yeah, nah,
So,
I agree with you. He just got the U.S. got that scheme, that cloth of democracy and capital. You know what I'm saying? It's like not everybody understands that this fool is a fascist, is a dictator. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they basically get them to fall for the same thing with the carrot instead of the stick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, but you're falling for the same trick. They're just using the carrot this time.
So, man, we say this: when it comes to our moral consciences from now on, let's start looking at these propositions and these different ballot measures from now on as educated people with a moral conscience who want to vote for our best interests, not against our best interests.
I mean, and even larger than that, you know what I'm saying? To be empathetic, to know that something that might benefit me might not be best for the country. Like, do what's best for the country.
Right.
You know
yeah. You gotta definitely look for the majority, man, and try.
Yeah, we're looking at these fools. You looking at 50 Cent and Wayne and all of that. They vote, you know what I'm saying? They rich. And so that the context of them being able to vote somebody, the Republican fiscal policy, that's a selfish decision. But like, yo, when you go back home to New Orleans or deep down there in New York, where them suckers is from, it's like, you got to realize, man, your community's still suffering. You got to vote for the best interest of your community, man.
Yeah.
Like, saying that same thing, and then more importantly, because we only 14% of the population, we ain't finna swing too much, but like, we need to get these white folks, these poor white people to understand that they're like, y'all voting interest.
Y'all in the same boat as us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If you poor, yo, you know, you need to vote in the interest of you being poor. Like, don't fall for the okie doke, man. Like, cause they're gonna be able to swing this more than we will ever. 14% of the population.
Yeah, because in this new political climate that we're living in, it's more about classism than racism. Even though racism is a big piece of it, and it's a big group, but it's really about classism, man. And we got people of this class or of a lower class that are still siding with the specific race, not realizing that they putting themselves farther and farther behind the 8 ball because they looked at as the same thing as us. They just a slightly lighter version, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. That socioeconomic status matters. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, voting in the best, like, not doing nothing selfishly, man. Just like how we was talking about how all of the people who voted to be able to restore those voting rights for the formerly incarcerated, like, they voting based on the aggregate.
They wouldn't think about themselves, obviously, because if they wouldn't think about themselves, they wouldn't have been able to vote.
Exactly. It was best for the country. It don't benefit them at all. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's a good way to look at it too, Jay. And man, you sound like you should be running for office sometime.
Man, but you know what? I love weed, so.
Hey, I don't think that's going to be a determinant factor too much longer.
You know what? I like the behind the scenes, man. You know what I'm talking about? but man, hey, we more like, it's just like we were speaking though, man. We got to be all understand. We all in this together, no matter what separate. What's best for the country, man. And so again, we understand them loafers and all of the opinion leaders, but just like Charles was saying, man, we gotta educate ourselves better because, like I said, like. People vote based off of the silliest stuff. I mean, women vote in the same context of what their husband do, and it's like there ain't no thought process into it. They don't people not taking the time. It's a lot of work. So people not taking the time to educate themselves on the specifics of this, man. If somebody tell you to do something, you're going to do it. That's just how foolish people are, man. Again, so it's like, we really do got to step it up. California, everywhere though, you know what I mean? Specifically, we're talking about us right now, but everybody need to step it up. Like, yo, vote in your best interest, educate yourself on what's going on. You know what I mean? And we definitely need to push the federal government to make this a holiday, like in other countries.
Yeah, it should be. Why the hell should people have to go to work when you're supposed to be doing the most important thing you could be doing as an American citizen, which is contributing to the democratic process? And then they don't want, they're trying to stop you from doing it.
Exactly. And I just got a small update. We just got Michigan too. Yeah. You know what I'm
All right, y'all.
Nevada, bring it home, man. Bring it home.
Hey, this is the beautiful thing about this, that if this happens, y'all, we have a chance to get the Emerald New Deal passed sometime next year. So we want you guys to support us to recognize that the Emerald New Deal is the best for our community. This is going to help our community. And so think about it in that manner. Don't think about it as, hey, man, I don't know about this, I don't know about that. Know about the restitution that needs to be paid for the crimes of the war on drugs to the people that's still here. Think about it that way.
Like I've told you guys on multiple occasions, man, restitution ain't something that you can just, shake your way out of. It ain't something that you can go file default and it'll go away. No, it's something that you owe for the rest of your life until it gets paid. You know what I mean? And the federal government has been found guilty of crimes. And it's only right for them to pay their restitution and pay what they owe back into the places that will suffer from the crimes that they committed in the first place.
That's why we're here, y'all, and to help our people be educated and to know we can fight back, because we do have the power to fight back. So let's slide to that next one, please, Duncan.
And then 25 was a referendum on law that replaced money bail with a system based on public safety and flight risk. Obviously, it did not pass. And there was a little bit of back and forth on this amongst people in my community for sure. But as you guys remember last week when I kind of went over myself, it was kind of like a trick bag. This one, to me, seemed like, right? So by replacing the money bail system with the system of public safety and flight risk, it didn't seem like them putting that in there there was going to be enough checks and balances there for them to make that equal and make that fair, right? So to me, it seemed that it was a kind of a scary prospect of knowing that I can go to court now, and instead of just having a bail set and knowing what the number is and figuring out a way to either bring the number down or reach that number for my freedom, now I'm basically under the scrutiny and basically under the thumb of whoever they put into place to say yay or nay, based strictly on their opinion, based strictly on whatever it is that they feel like if I pose some type of risk to the public or if I pose some type of flight risk, right? So for this one that did not pass, for me, I say good, right? I'm okay with the fact that this did not pass. I know that the bail system today isn't quite perfect, and it is kind of slanted away from people of color's favor, right? But it's a system that I know, right? So me personally, I just feel like I'd rather deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't, right? Because I kind of know which angles I got to come from, and I kind of know what it's going to take to work my way around and work my way through this system. So for me, like I said, the did not pass was a good thing in my eyes.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with Rob on that.
Yeah.
Because, go ahead, Jay.
I mean, I was gonna say I'm mixed on it, but the devil I know got a major poor people's tax, man, and so it's like when you think about what they're trying to eradicate, like that shit really don't benefit you. You know what I'm saying? It's like to keep it the way it is, like you got 50 bands to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Your mama got a house to put up. You know what I mean? So it's like I look at it like that. Like I agree that it should have been fleshed out more, and they should have looked at how it would have had a disparate impact on certain communities. You know what I'm saying? It really went into better detail, because that'd be the problem with most of this stuff is it's just like, it's not a bad idea, but the way it's going to be implemented won't have, you know what I'm saying? The impact won't be as monumental as you think, because they'll have all of these high holes. So this is something that needs to go up again, but it needs to be going in greater detail, but played out. But you know what I'm saying? I also feel like, shit, man, this is a major poor people's tax. You know what I'm saying? This is a major poor. So this still, the way it is now, it's still going to have a largely more disparate impact on our same community. It's going to affect us negatively in the same way. It's like, I know every one of us, you know what I'm saying, is dealing with a court-appointed lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, so you know what I'm saying? It ain't like this benefits us to keep this on the books, to me. Like, it benefits nobody but rich people.
All right. But if you also look at it like from the perspective of somebody like me or him who have had to undergo risk assessments before. And so somebody like me who did my time already, now they can still say because I was convicted of this crime that now I'm a risk and that I could be a flight risk or a violent risk. And so what I'm saying about that is that there's ways for them to maneuver something as nebulous as that in any kind of direction they want to affect whoever they want to.
And Jay, I don't know if this is going through your head, but I don't want you to kind of harp back on what you just said. But I don't want you to believe that me saying this is a good no pass is me thinking selfishly only of myself, right? Because like you said, you know what I mean, it's important for us to vote in the best interest of us, my people at large, right? But my whole thing is I've been under the gun with these people before, and I've seen how they treat my people strictly for this, right?
Absolutely.
It ain't got nothing without it having to do anything with my past or anything, strictly for this. So now if I don't know exactly how you're going to assess it, this can be enough to make me a public safety issue.
No, absolutely.
This can be enough to make me a flight risk, and I don't know. So it's kind of like scary saying, damn, I could possibly be putting my whole life back in this man's hands. Like, I don't know if this can become an issue later on. You know what I mean? So my thing, I was thinking about not only myself, because I know they already look at me as a public safety factor. I know this for a fact. It's all of my federal paperwork, right? I know they look at me this way, but I don't know if they're gonna look at you this way without the felonies that I have, just because of this. You know what I mean? So that kind of makes me feel like, damn, maybe I'm thinking for Jay at the same time. Like, man, this is a scary prospect, man. It's a scary prospect for me, and I do believe that this does need to come up again, and it does need to be sifted through. But my thing is, give me something that I can say, yes, I'm good with that. Don't just throw something random out there and I'm just saying, well, I want to get rid of that so bad, I'm willing to go for whatever you throw over here. No. Give me something, and then I will say, yes, get this out of here. You get what I'm saying?
We on the same page in that. You know what I'm saying? It's one way. It's not one way leaning, because I agree that if they put this on the books the way it currently was, it could have a disparate impact, like I said, on other communities. I also look at like the class issue, right? We was just talking about the socioeconomic economic status and how it's you know what I'm saying? So it's just like public safety, that's definitely, you just gonna, you know what I'm saying, the color of your skin is definitely enough to be making you a public safety issue. But when it comes to something like flight risk, like, nigga, you gotta afford to be a flight risk. You know what I'm saying?
You got to be able to afford to be a flight risk.
And so who's that? Who's that? This is, you know, it just benefit the people who can afford to be a flight risk, and oftentimes they don't look like none of us on this line.
No, not at all. No,
and that's what I'm saying. But we on the same page in that they needed to go in greater detail and really flesh out a lot of those things, so we could address those things. And it's just like, I understand both sides of it. I think that in the context of this, like, both things is true. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
and that's exactly why I was saying what I said last week, man, about how this one was kind of like, it's really, really hard. I'm kind of torn on which side I want to go with, right? Because I do know that this does need to be repealed, but I also know that I don't know if I want to live under that the way that they're trying to change it to, right? So it's like, damn, what do I do? But you know what I mean? Me having to vote one way, like I said, and I would have said, well, for now, let's keep it the way it is, even though I know the damage that this is causing. I'm still definitely afraid of what could be worse, right? And that's just my opinion, though. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think. I think, like I said, I understand both sides of the argument. So, you know what I'm saying?
So this is what I would suggest for when they put this on the ballot next time, that they come talk to us and let us help them flesh some of this stuff out, so that we can make sure that we protecting everybody that's supposed to be involved, especially the poor people.
Right.
But
write the policy and bring it to us, or bring it to the people and let them see this is the system that we want to put in place. So we want to get rid of this, but this is exactly what we want to put, and let us vote on that. Yes, that system's great. That will work. That shows equity amongst the classes and amongst the races. Or hell no, we ain't going for that. You get what I'm saying? But you gotta give us that. Otherwise, it's like, man, how can I vote yes? Because voting no for this is voting yes for the other system. And how can I vote yes for a system that I don't know nothing about or I don't understand at all?
You know what, man? Like I said, like I agree with that. The only problem is that if thing, right, man? You know what I'm saying? It's if they put the money up to do this. This shit is expensive to get passed. And even under the context when what we're talking about, which is a completely rational, like, you need to do more research. Like, man, I done had an internship at the California Research Bureau. I wrote short summaries for these people to review. You know what I'm saying? Spent months writing a short summary for these politicians to review, going into to whether they're going to vote on something. You know what I'm saying? On in regards to their own personal politics, and that shit is 2 pages. It's summarizing all of this work in 2 pages, and they looking at that going into the meetings if they look at it. And
If
so
they
it's
open
like
it up.
to
Right.
think that we all, you know, this is a problem of the system, but it's just like to think that they're gonna put that much effort and that much money into it, and it's gonna take, and they're gonna look at it in 2 pages and be able to say like, yeah, I know enough about this shit to vote to be able to decide, you know, rationally whether or
Right.
not we should go in this. It's just like, man, it's just too many assumptions, too much conjecture around that, and that's the problem, because it's like, how long did it take for weed to do this after it? Remember how many times it took to pass? Like, granted, weed is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's like, it took a long ass time, like, and it shouldn't have took that long. So it's just like an if thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, who gonna put up the money to change the system again? Because we know that the bail bondsmen ain't trying to lose their job. Like,
Nope.
big business,
Yeah.
right? Big business.
Nope. Big business, exactly. You're right. You're right. So, like you said, man, about the other one, man, it's sad that it didn't get pushed through, because, man, it's like once the chickens is out the yard, it's hard to get them back in there. And
Yep.
once it's shot down, it's like, damn, we got to do the work just to get it back on the ballot again, just to get voted for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we don't make enough changes, why are they gonna put the exact same measure back on the ballot the exact same way?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like
So-
it's a hell of a hole, man, that we kind of digging ourselves into when we don't do the proper work in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It's a hell of a hole to dig ourselves into.
And looking at that money, like how evenly distributed it is, you know what I mean? It's like that's scary going forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's
Yeah.
like, who gonna, that, you know, that the opposition is gonna put up just enough dough, right, to be able to shut this down. And
No matter what side you on.
Yeah, exactly. That's scary.
Yep.
Because that, you know what I mean? It's like, these are, a lot of the times this be like private citizens doing all of this work to put up this dough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
And don't nobody want to go into a fight. Most people, they ain't gonna try to go into a fight where they know they got a 50-50 chance of winning. Most people jump out there when they know they got their chances is a lot higher than that.
yeah.
You know what
I mean, that's
So
a
the
law of
closer you are to
power.
50
That's a
ain't
law
no
of
question.
power.
No doubt about it. So the closer they are to 50-50, the more reluctant they are to say, you know what, maybe we should just stay out of this one this time.
Yeah.
You know what I
I'ma
mean?
save
And
my
then that's what's gonna
14
keep us in the
million.
same system, in the same cycle. And we say it's 14 million because they're gonna put up 12 or 10 anyway. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you're right, Jay.
Hey, but this the whole thing about why we here, because we want to make sure that we understand this and that our people in our community understand these things for the future also. It ain't just about this election. It's about the future elections. That when we read these propositions, that we factor into the different language they're using and how could they use that language they're using against us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't know that, then we're going to be voting for things that'll end up being our worst enemy.
Yeah. So speaking of some of the work that, you know, that me and Charles do on the side, it's like all of these things. One of the biggest problems, I work for a CBO, you know what I'm saying, a nonprofit basically. And so we always have a problem when they don't overlay an equity analysis on these things, because you're not building out a project with the community. What you're doing is building out a project and telling the community afterwards. And so this is one of those things where that's where, you know what I mean, that community needs to be building out this project, this policy going forward, and so that we can understand all of the different ways that it can have a disparate impact on these community. It can have these inequitable outcomes going forward. And so they didn't do that here, and they often don't do that. But again, that's the problem with policy in general, the political system, but especially in California. You know what I mean? Like, and it's something that, again, well, while we sitting up here trying to repeal something that was passed in 2009, not because we can't just take it off, whether it's street strikes or whatever, but you got to have a whole ass proposition to be able to do this. And it's just like, that's the flaw of the system.
Make it a proposition. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's real talk. And that's why we here, man, because this is community power right here. The Emerald New Deal is about the community taking its own power back and saying, we want to change policy because you're not using this money the way it should be used. So let us help you use it in a more beneficial way for us.
Absolutely, and it's a humbling thing. Like I said, we of course, you know what I'm saying, we enacting this in our own process and the projects that we're working on, but it's a humbling thing to make sure that we do this with our own stuff going forward too. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, again, reaching out to the cannabis industry, reaching out to these communities, you know what I'm saying, to be able to build this out with them, to make these changes, to make sure that it's got the most reasonable chance of getting passed in its current standing. You know what I mean? Because it's like this fall on its face, like who's gonna be pushing it forward the next time?
Yep.
You
You
know what I'm
right. And so, hey, y'all, our community, we come to talk to y'all. We come to share with y'all what we want to do to help. So help us, help everybody else by supporting the Emerald New Deal, by following us on Facebook, by writing your city council member and letting your city council member know that you support the Emerald New Deal, which is taking 100% of the cannabis tax revenue out of the general fund, placing it into a community equity fund where that money will be redistributed back into the communities that were harmed the most by the war on drugs. And we all know who those people are. So this is like a no-brainer, y'all. All we need to do is support this with strength, with vitality, and with steadfastness, and we could get this done.
Mm-hmm.
Please believe it. Please believe it. Ain't really too much else I can say to add to that, man. You know, just
Right.
you know, like y'all just went out there and let y'all voice be heard as far as the voting on these propositions, and it's looking like you letting your voice be heard in the presidential votes, in the presidential election, right? So you got to just continue to do that, man. When you want to see change, you got to be changed. Like I said last week, man. So you got to get out there and push it.
And we want to thank y'all and have y'all come back to see us next week when we'll be talking about our city council members.
Shout out to Carol Fife.
Yeah.
Right.
And hey, it looked good for us in the Emerald New Deal with the city council members that look like they'll be sitting down. We're gonna have a chance to talk to them. We want y'all to talk to them. So y'all let those city council members know that, hey, do you support the Emerald New Deal? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, we've already had conversations with a lot of these from Councilmember Chang to Gail to whoever. So it's just like, man, we just need to rock up with Kaplan. Like all of these conversations we had already been setting up before this. And go ahead, Charles, and tell them who already supporting us.
Okay, so we had a Black Cultural Zone supporting us, over 20-member coalition of organizations, grassroots organizations, on the boots organizations in Oakland. We also have EOC. We also have Roots Community Health Center. We have Council Member Shane Tao. We have Council Member Gallo. We actually have 2 meetings coming up this week, y'all. So support us all the way as we let you know at each meeting that we have what the outcome was. And we want you to reach out to your council member after we talk to them and let them know that you support us.
And let them know that supporting the Emerald New Deal is supporting you and it's supporting that community. Because that's all the Emerald New Deal is, man. It's just an ordinance to make sure that we giving back and taking care of the community, right? So just let your council members know that every time they go out there and they speak and the Emerald New Deal comes out of their mouth, it's giving support back to the community. It's helping your children. It's helping your schools. It's helping your brothers and sisters coming home from prison. It's helping you stay in your house. It's helping everybody in our community. So you just let them know that as long as they supporting us, then they supporting you.
All right. And hey, Jay, man. So for everybody, you know, this was Jay's first show being actively involved. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jay, man. It was definitely good having you on, man. I hear you a lot during our meetings, man, and I love your insight, man, and your knowledge, man, and just the way you communicate, man. And I'm glad that we can share that with the rest of our audience out here, man, for real.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. I'm looking to get my name under the house too. You feel me? So
No
matter of fact, next time we do that, you'll be the host too, Mike.
Please believe it.
Hey, y'all, we love y'all. We'll see you next week. Thank you. And like we said, man, support the Emerald New Deal, man. We can change Oakland, y'all.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
But we need your help.
It's good seeing y'all again, man. And I want to thank my uncle, man, for welcoming me to his house, man. You know, I got the thing off my foot.
Oh, man, I got some scenery out there, folks.
Man, you got some real scenery, man. Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie, this shit's kind of scary, man. He keep moving. I'm like, bro, cool up, man. This deck high as hell. But I'm definitely enjoying myself, man. With my uncle, man, come over there hanging out, man. So anyway, thanks again, Uncle, for inviting me, man, and
Oh,
make sure
you're
I'm out
good.
here with y'all, man. You know, just like we were saying, man, y'all just continue to support, man. And thank you too, Duncan. You quiet as hell, man, but you do your thing, man. Good job.
Yeah. Hey, Duncan always there on time, man. He'd be flipping them things.
Looking like a goddamn Calvin Klein model.
Hey, thank y'all. See you guys, man, next week.
All right, y'all.
All right. Hey, Jay, I need to talk to you.